Welcome back to DM Prep. My name is Ian and I will be your DM for today. Today we are prepping episode 32 of the Gilded Troll Plays Odyssey, the Dragon Lords. When lastly left off, the heroes had made their way to the island of Typhon and they started fighting their way through the volcano dungeon. And we're going to continue prepping the volcano dungeon. That we had the first half very well prepped, the second half not so much. And just before I started, I was in the process of switching from dynamic lighting to fog of war because dynamic lighting is a piece of shit. Roll20 don't sponsor us. And not only was it tanking all of the, or not all of, but several of the players' computers while we were my computer as I was getting set up to DM prep. Thank you everyone for being here. A-Lot, that one guy, Rogue Singer, Horrible Tomato, Joshua Neatswiki, thank you all for being here. Fraginator, thank you for the sub. Welcome back to the Gilded Troll. Thanks for being here for 6 months. That makes you a silvered troll. Hell yeah. Good morning, guys. Fun fact, that word is actually pronounced houda. It is Dutch. Just a little foreign language for you this morning. Hey, Valandy, how's it going? We're switching to Fog of War because dynamic lighting is somehow it eats so many resources. I literally pulled up Roll20 before I was about to go live, and my computer was just crying. So I am switching to Fog of War, which is sort of infinitely more time-consuming. Well, so here's the thing. Fog of War and dynamic lighting take roughly the same amount of time to use, but dynamic lighting you can use before the session. So I've got that nice and revealed. Don't mind this. That's just ugliness. I've got everything they've seen revealed now, and I will just have to fog of war while they're going through the session. So one of the things my players pointed out was that they were able to see this cloud, and I don't even know what layer the cloud is on. Real talk. I guess it's not the map layer. Okay, it's on the token layer. But I could have sworn there were 3 of them. Oh. Why'd they all get shoved there? That's really weird. That's very confusing to me. I've got 3 clouds here. Hey, Geolas Danor. I probably mangled that. We got a lot of people in chat today. So, our goal today is to make sure the rest of the dungeon takes exactly 4 hours. Why do I have so many clouds here? There's just a pile of clouds just jammed in the same spot. That's bizarre. I'm just going to spread these out. Okay, cool. Alright. We are a goddamn buffet. Yeah. Okay. So. Alright, so we have these notes on what the hell's going on here. Number 4, we got a metric assload of carbon monoxide mephits, steam mephits that do con for poison damage instead of dex for fire damage, and they have 1 hit point. I think instead of giving them 1 hit point, and die if they take, what's a steam mephits hit points? 21 hit points. 21 damage in a turn. So essentially at the end of every turn they heal back to full because they're just inside a cloud of carbon monoxide. And they're smart enough to wait until all of the players are in the cloud to attack. If the players start running through one at a time, which I doubt, then they will wait until the party is nice and split. So that's a big combat. Area 6, we've got 2 the Hungry. Let's see how they work. Thanks for lurking, Lethal Sandwich. Thanks for being here. Got 2 the Hungry. They're hungry. They have... okay, so they get advantage on their next turn and deal an additional 4d10 necrotic damage if they see someone. Is that initiative count 0 they all heal? No, it's actually going to be at the end of every single turn they're going to heal. Not every single round, but every single turn. So you actually need to do 21 damage to them in a single turn, or they're just not going to die. I'm probably, you know what? That's a lot of bookkeeping. So I'm just going to go back to having 1 hit point apiece. Like that's just way. But don't die if they save versus an effect and take less than 21 damage. So yeah. So if someone throws an AoE, the ones that save aren't going to die if on that save they take less than 21 damage. But I'm just not going to keep track of their hit points because it's not worth my time. So one of the things that I really like about 4th edition was that they had a creature type called a Minion that had 1 hit point. But no matter how hard you hit them, they never died unless you actually hit. So in 4th edition, there were some powers were called daily powers, and then if you miss with a daily power, you still do half damage or something like that. So if you threw like a daily AoE at a bunch of minions and missed every single one of them, they wouldn't die, even though they have 1 hit point, and you probably did 30 damage. So that's kind of what I'm trying to replicate here, is that if they make the save, even if they would take any damage, they don't die unless they actually take the 21 damage. Yeah, minions are great. So that's essentially what these Mephits are, and they're basically just going to spam their Steam Breath, and it's going to do, like, it does kind of a hilariously small amount of damage, but when there's however many of these guys there are, I don't even know, 5, 10, 12, 15, wait, 5, 10, 15, 19, 24, 29, 34, 37 Mephits. There's 37 Mephits. I wanna just curious. Steam Mephit. We've got 6 players of level 11, and we've got 37 of these Mephits. And by the numbers, this is an easy encounter. Yeah. Yeah, there are probably homebrew minion rules. I'm basically writing my own right now, in that, this is my homebrew rules. They have 1 hit point, but they don't die if they save versus an effect and take less than what their hit points would have been. That's basically it. So one of the things I wanted to do was change the Fog of War opacity so that I can see a little bit better what my players can see. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I can see a little bit better what my players are able to see and what they aren't able to see, so I can, make the decision to show it. So yeah, the other thing is I need to go in and delete all of the dynamic lighting doors, so that my players can actually move their tokens through them, because that is a thing that would stop them. And I think that's actually it for doors. I think those are the only ones that are left. Oh, no, there's one right here. Oh. I had a door here. So yeah, why could they see the cloud? Whatever. Now they can't. Not a big deal. So yeah. So yeah, this is what the players can see. I've got a bunch of dynamic lighting stuff. It's whatever. It's just, it is what it is. So when I'm not going to try and figure out what my players are capable of seeing at any given time, I'm basically just going to reveal one room at a time. But basically what I want to do here is figure out how to make this session take exactly 4 hours. And the reason for that is Floof Queen is not around. She stays downstairs when I'm doing DM prep, because she only likes to be upstairs if we're both upstairs. Otherwise, she wants to be downstairs. So she's not up here. So no Tritos. If I were smart, I would disable the Trito for the Floof Queen during DM prep, but I'm not smart, so I didn't do that. But how about I go do that? There, I have disabled Trito for the Floof Queen, and I will probably forget to turn it back on for the actual game. So we want this session to take exactly 4 hours, because at the end of the session, as you know, the players are expecting that Scorpius is going to have to jump into the volcano on his own. And that is, you know, that's what I'm expecting as well. And basically, I want them to get to that point at the very end of the session so that Scorpius jumps into the volcano and we end the session. And the reason for that is that I'm going to have a one-on-one session with just Jesse. And we're going to announce this after the session tonight, but you know, there's like, how many of you here? Stream manager, load. There's 16 of you here. I can tell all of you guys. We are already channel point raising for TOA. That is another thing that I'm supposed to announce. So we have a new channel point goal, a Tomb of Annihilation speed run. Yeah. So we can get them points in. So once we hit that goal, we're gonna do a Tomb of Annihilation speed run in the style of all of our other speed runs. But I can also announce this at the end of we're gonna announce this at the end of tonight's D&D session, but I'll announce it now as well to all of you. We are going to be having a one-on-one session, just me and Jesse as Scorpius, this coming Friday at 8:30 p.m. To cover what happens inside the volcano. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Jesse's super excited. I'm super excited, but we need to get there first. So the combats with the Lost and the Lonely took about 45 minutes apiece. And let's see how many hit points they had total. So the 4 Lonely had 448 hit points. The 2 Hungry have 450 hit points. So basically the same amount of hit points. Let's see how many of the Lost had. There were 6 of them, if I recall correctly, times 78. I don't feel like doing that in my head. 460. So yeah, we're in the 400 to 500 hit point range for each of these fights. What about the Angry, which I think I put the Angry at the end, I think. CR13. So we've got the Mephit fight. Tomb Annihilation. Yeah, Tomb Annihilation. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a hell of a lot of fun. I think that might be our first speed run that doesn't take a ridiculous amount of time. So the other thing is that at the end they're gonna be fighting Typhon, Father of Monsters. So we've got to fight against the Hungry. They're not gonna waste any time. I am gonna bump their speed because I've already said that. Actually, do I need to? Can I just jump over it? They got 19 strength. Yeah, they're gonna jump over it, and then we'll just drag people. Can't attack with its claws. Wow. Okay, so we can only bite. Huh. Interesting. That's weird. So yeah, these Sorrowsworn, these Hungries are gonna attack. I am gonna bump their speed. I'm just gonna say they have 50-foot speed so they can get across the lava more easily. And they'll probably do a leap, but they're still gonna leap anyway. And then the Angry. I think, I don't know how much I don't know if I like the Angry enough to really want to run it. Unless I add, maybe I add some Wretched to that fight as well. These are terrifying. Pack Tactics. It otherwise has disadvantage. Neat. Becomes attached to the target. Can't attack. Starts at the start of its turn. Oh, these are basically Sturges. Okay. Okay. Neato. Cool. All right. So I really like the Wretched then. So we're gonna grab some Wretched token, and then yeah, we're gonna Wretched. Yeah, these are basically like Sturges. They function basically the same way. That's a terrible token. What the hell? But I'm not arguing. Okay. So I didn't add the... Did I add the Angry? I didn't even add the Angry, so I gotta do that too. have them drop from the ceiling or some hole above head level, walking under some giant leaf. Yeah, I mean, could do that. I mean, they also have 40-foot speed, so I was kind of just imagining them swarming them. Just like you walk into the room and then you get swarmed by these fuckers. When you say you like a monster, what in particular are you looking at? Weird mechanic. A mechanic that is more than I make an attack roll and do some damage, which is kind of why I don't like the Angry. They don't do anything except damage. They just attack you. And like, yeah, they have this thing where, you know, if you deal damage to the Angry, then its attack rolls at advantage, and it deals extra damage. But, like, it attacks and does damage. Like, with the Lonely, they had the ranged grapple, and they could pull you into the lava. With the Lost, if they had someone grappled, they would deal damage to them automatically, and like it was as a reaction instead of whatchamacallit, just bumping, you know, beefing up its attack. So I'm thinking I'm actually going to change this to, I'm going to do it. I'm actually going to do it. This is a thing that I'm going to do. The Angry. We're going to take its trait and turn it into a reaction. We're going to call it the Angrier. And I'm actually taking inspiration from the White Abishai, who basically works the same way, but is hilariously undertuned. This guy is technically, he's written as CR6. I think he's closer to CR3, or maybe 4. With a +6 to hit, he just does not have enough, whatever. But in response to taking damage, makes a bite attack against a random creature within 5 feet of it. So I'm going to take this feature and give it to the Angry, and I'm going to get rid of Rising Anger. I'm going to delete that. We're going to give it a reaction. Whoa. So we're going to bold italic, including that. And then this is going to be Rising Anger. In response to taking damage, the Angry makes a hook attack against a random creature within 5 feet of it. If no creature is within reach, the Angry moves up to half its speed toward an enemy it can see. I'm gonna get rid of the without provoking opportunity attacks, and then if this hook attack hits, it instead deals 3d12 plus 3 psychic damage. And the reason for that, making them other people's angry. Them making other people's angry. How do the players make a whiz save versus getting angry themselves? On a failure, they go berserk. And the target must succeed on a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw, or make this, or take this reaction. So I actually really like that. Thank you, Fraginator. That is absolutely fucking amazing. So if he hits you with this reaction attack, he imbues you with anger, and if you fail the save, you then have to make an attack against a random enemy or random creature within 5 feet of you, and it can just chain into everyone punching each other. So that could be really cool. And I legit just picked a DC 16. I don't know what it's based on. I don't really care. It seemed like a reasonable DC given the level they're at. I will say most of the party is really good at wisdom saving throws, but if we hit Remir or Yasena, they're the two who suck at wisdom saving throws. That could be really fun. I'm really curious what I want to... I want to get beyond 20, not to... Yeah, let's whisper rolls. Always whisper. Always whisper monster rolls, okay. So it's just going to whisper to me. It doesn't even say damage type, but that's fine. That's not a big deal. So yeah, I just wanted to see if it would do the psychic, but it did not. So let's turn on add roll buttons to stat blocks, and then we'll refresh. So here we go. Okay, so we're gonna, it's still set to always whisper, rising anger. Okay, cool. Now it says psychic damage. So cool beans. Okay, so that's the Angrier. I think he's infinitely more interesting now. So let's get some tokens and handouts uploaded. Here's a little preview. Let's see. Tokens. That's where. The Angry ended up just in here. Okay. And then back in tokens, we need the Wretched. Yep. Okay. And then in here, we need handouts. The Angry. The Angry Portrait. Add handout. The Wretched. And we need the Wretched Portrait. And the only reason I'm making handouts for these is because the tokens are kind of incredibly tightly cropped. Like this is what he looks like, and then this is what the token looks like. It just shows his heads, and the same thing with the Wretched. They got the big little wiggly butts, but it just shows their face. So that's those are good. All right, so now I need one the Angry, and why is he not? Oh, there we go. So the Angry. Turn on a nameplate, but players can't see it. We're actually going to call him the Angry. Nah, I'll just use the stat. The stat block's called the Angrier, but no need for me to put that in. So he's got 18 AC. And then what's the expected ending of this dungeon, if you may? Okay, so they're making their way around the volcano, essentially. They came in up here, and they're literally going clockwise around this entire dungeon. And then once they get to here, Area 7, so Area 8 is actually completely optional, the fight with the Angry. Once they get to Area 7, they come out onto this ledge, and then once they get there, I'm actually just going to switch maps. We're going to switch to Typhon Basin. And they're, I'm just going to sort of shoehorn that they head down that tunnel, and then they find stairs, and then once they're on those stairs, they find themselves here. And then they find themselves staring into this swirling vortex of darkness and lava, and they see the lava pouring down into it. And they're going to want to jump in because that's what Scorpius is here to do. But before they can, they have to fight this guy, Typhon, he is Typhon, the father of monsters. So they'll have to fight him, and then once they fight him, Scorpius can then jump in. So one of the things that I wanted to do was have the players outside. They would have to fight Typhon over and over and over again as Scorpius is doing stuff inside. The question is, how many times do I want to have them fight him? And it's going to be, I know that it's going to be based on how often or how long Scorpius spends down inside the volcano, but I don't know how delay on mobile for DM prep is the least tenable thing for. Yeah, it's delay on mobile is just painful. But once Scorpius makes it in, we will go to the Typhon Underground, where he will find that he has to fight a Phoenix solo, which isn't the end of the world, because the only damage the Phoenixes do is fire damage, and Scorpius is resistant to fire damage. He's also a druid, so he can wild shape to get extra hit points. So I actually am expecting this fight to be fair, despite the fact that the Phoenix is like CR 16 or something. Yeah, CR 16. I actually expect this fight to be fair. It's got 175 hit points and 18 AC, so he's probably going to be doing about 140 damage a round. Fight will last about 5 rounds. In the meantime, the Phoenix will probably hit all of its attacks, and it's got 1 beak, 1 fiery talons. So it's going to be 15 and 17, 32 damage plus 5 damage every round that he's on fire. So like 38 damage, except it's halved because he's resistant. What's going to make the rest of the group not go into the Phoenix's cave? The fact that in order to get to the Phoenix's cave, you have to jump into a volcano, and literally anyone but Scorpius would just die if they jumped into this volcano. So that's how that's going to happen. And Scorpius has already been told that like this is something that he needs to do alone. So, yeah, I don't think any of them are going to be dumb enough to try it. So once he defeats the Phoenix, he can finally speak to the prisoner that's chained up. Yeah, this is after the jump. Yep. He can speak to the prisoner that's chained up to the floor, who is, in fact, Calliope, the first queen of Eresia, and Scorpius's great-great-great-great-grandmother, or something like that. So that's the ending for Typhon. But that's going to be, like, this underground stuff is going to be during the one-on-one with Jesse. I can delete this spiritual weapon. So yeah, I gotta populate this room with some wretched. And one of the changes that I made to all of the Sorrowsworn is that how much HP did wretched have? I think it's 10. They have 10 hit points. So I think I'm actually just gonna make wretched minions. So they have 10 hit points. I'm actually going to get rid of the maximum hit points. So they have 10 hit points. And it essentially works the same way as the Mephits. If they get hit with an attack, they die. If they're subjected to an AoE, they die if they fail. Or they die if they succeed, if the damage on a successful save is still more than 10. So one of the things that I made, one of the changes that I made to all of the Sorrowsworn was that I made them immune to fire, just because it made sense here, and allows them to really fuck around with lava and all that. So I'm gonna have the wretched essentially. Someone mentioned like clinging to the ceiling, so they're gonna be like big old larvas, and what I'll do is I'll, as the players enter, I'll explain it as basically it looks like someone took a chicken and just shoved it into the ceiling, and it looks like they're just stuck there, but in fact the wretched are just using their mouths to just hold on to the ceiling, and they'll just drop down onto people. So I'm going to put these in the GM overlay, and I'm trying to decide how many I want. So the Hungry, all of the other Sorrowsworn encounters had a total of about 450 hit points. The Angry only has 255 hit points, so if I wanted to stay in the 400-500 range, I would need 15 of the Wretched, but I think that might be excessive, because, they are small, so let me delete these, make one small. Yeah. Okay, so this is... Okay, yeah, that works. Deselect the Angry, and then move these to the GM layer. So yeah, it just looks like someone took a chicken, chucked it at the ceiling, and they're just dangling. Back end of a chicken is dangling from the ceiling. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. Cool. So that gives us a total of 375 hit points, but considering they're minions, so the minions technically only have 1 hit point. So really the 12 of them add up to 267 hit points. But here's the thing, no one ever does 1 damage to an enemy. So if Scorpius were to punch something, he's going to do D8 plus 7 damage to something. So he's going to do an average of 12 damage. So every single one of these Wretched, even though they only have 1 hit point, they're going to soak probably about 15 damage. So with that in mind, 12 times 15 is 180, plus the 255 of the Angry, and we've got 430 some hit points, 435 hit points. So that's in our 400 to 500 range. So all of the fights in here are roughly, I would say, the same level of difficulty. The Angry has the capability of causing these cool chain reactions, so that's neat. You know what? I'm going to edit this guy. The Angry. Is that hallway after the Mephit's going to be an environmental hazard as well? Yes, that is something that I wanted to do just to sort of pad out the time, because like I said, I want the session to take as close to exactly 4 hours as I can. Because if we're 2.5 hours in and they say, okay, well we're ready to jump in, I'm just gonna have to say, okay, cool. I have to end the session here because I'm not, ready for what happens next. And I want to avoid that. So I do want to add more stuff in the place. So it took us about 2 hours to get through 2 fights and 1 exploration. So I want to go through so I have 4 fights written, but one of them's optional. So I want to do 1 or 2 environmental kinds of things. So one of the things I wanted to do is the Angrier can take this reaction any number of times per round, but only once per turn. So if one player starts wailing on this guy, he can respond once on their turn, and they hit him 4 more times. If Scorpius hits him 4 times in a turn, he can still only do this once. But it'll trigger several times throughout the fight, is my hope. So that's a thing that I want. It's too similar to the Angry to share with the community. Whatever. So yeah, this hallway after the meat-fits, I wanted to make that into a hazard as well. And I had an idea about how to make it, like, it's full of, like, toxic mist and stuff, but I wasn't really sure what to do with it. Like, mechanically, I don't know how to run it. And then the other thing is I did want to run the Madness of the Maw, and I was essentially going to have... I think I wanted to do this during the fight with Typhon. Not sure. Also, I'm definitely doing maximum hit points for Typhon, so instead of the average of 195, it's going to be 17 times 12 plus 85. So 289 hit points for Typhon, which is still fewer than any of the other fights thus far. But that's fine. They're going to be... You do have the precedent of Luke punching Obsidian. Yes, I know. Yeah. And I'm kind of imagining... so 289. And what's its AC? 17. We'll put this out of 289. Okay. All right, so he's got a health bar. All right. So yeah, I was thinking, like, it could be something like you crunch, like you step on, like, this entire hallway is made of obsidian, including the floors, and basically if you end your turn on obsidian, then it breaks and you have to make a dex save. Something like that. I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah, Luke is a wild card. Luke is Chaos Incarnate. But yeah, mechanically, I don't know how to run this the best. And I'm half expecting the players to go, okay, this is way too much. Just fucking run when the Mephits start attacking them. And, if that happened, like, if we're still in initiative order with the Mephits and they start running, then, I want to make sure that this is runnable. So if you end your turn between the yellow lines, you have to make a dex save, DC 17, or cause poison gas to burst in a 5-foot radius around you. So what that means is that maybe a chase sequence. I'm not running a chase sequence. Chase sequences are garbage as written, and I have yet to find a good way to run them. So that's not to say that chases can't be good, but the mechanics that we've been presented in the DMG do not keep up with the level of excitement that we want to have in our chase sequences, and I haven't figured out how to fix it yet. So eventually I'll probably figure out how to fix it, and then I'll want to run chase sequences, but in the meantime, no. So I just need to draw the yellow lines. So it's going to be on the GM info overlay. We're going to do big yellow lines. So I wanted to end just before the door to give them, a sort of safe space where they aren't going to get hit but then it's essentially like as soon as they enter this hallway. So anywhere between, if you end your turn, anywhere between those lines, you have to make a dex save versus as the obsidian floor beneath you cracks. Okay. And then once you fail the dex save, you cause poison gas to burst in a 5-foot radius around you, and then that will cause the DC 17 con save versus poison damage. So that's how I wanted to do that. Gas then fills that area. And then on each of their saves, it's essentially going to make a cloud in the hallway, and that's just woof. I'm gonna do 10-foot square area. Oh no, our thingy's not quite right. Oop. What am I doing? Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Now it looks good on stream. So yeah, because I have it in pop out, it can very easily look really dumb. But yeah, so I'm thinking just if you end your turn between the yellow lines, you have to make a dex save or cause poison gas to burst in a 10-foot square area. Obviously, the 10-foot square area would include the player that triggered it. So that's a thing. And then what's convenient is I got this animated spell effects, so I can literally just very quickly drop a stinking cloud. And then, bam, stinking cloud. And then that area is just gassy. Period. What I do is phases. The decision phase for cross-party talk, the action phase where everyone interacts with where they are, the movement phase where everyone makes con saves and move ahead, stay the same, or fall behind. DCs are based on actions they did as well far how into the chase we are. That sounds pretty okay. One of the main things that bogs down chase scenes is that it's still turn-based, and you're trying to like, even more so than combat, you're trying to replicate simultaneity. And when you use an initiative order in a chase, it just ruins that simultaneity to the point where it just feels like combat again. So having everyone do stuff at the same time, I think, is definitely necessary. So I really like that. I think I would do con checks instead of saves, because it's not a saving throw. It's not any kind of reaction, but that's probably just me being pedantic. So feel free to disregard. So yeah, this is anywhere in between these two. All the ground and walls are obsidian. So yeah, I think so. The angry and a bunch of wretched hanging from the ceiling. What is it called? Basin? Yeah. Okay. Wretched hanging from the ceiling, looking like back ends of chickens hanging limply from the ceiling. Yeah, it makes very little difference, except that it means that fighters, barbarians, and sorcerers aren't better at running than everyone else for no reason. But it does mean that bards are better than everyone else at running for no reason, because it would be an ability check with which they are not proficient, which means Jack of all trades applies. But I think that's better than letting people with con save proficiency just be better at it for no reason whatsoever. So that's just my 2 cents. But I actually really like that. I'm gonna take that, and I'm gonna make a note of that. So yeah, I'm stealing that. Thank you. So we've got combat, environmental hazard, combat, combat. So we've got 4 combats and an environmental hazard, and so the one thing I want to do is I want to put something interesting into this room. So we've already got this this table thingy that looks like it has a corpse on it, but I want to make something interesting for the party to interact with. That would match the flavor of Typhon. Oh, and we do have this staircase here that goes nowhere, and they can puzzle about where the hell that goes. Yeah. So what can we put in this room that will? I mean, it's essentially here to waste time, but I do want to use it to. Is it stealing if you gave it as a gift? I mean, I don't know. I think it's just I didn't mean like stealing, whatever. So yeah, what can we put in this room that's like interesting? Because the dragon statue is that was foreshadowing stuff way later. We can maybe foreshadow something a little bit sooner. I kind of want to put a phoenix statue token. This is not going to work, is it? Ugh. So we've got the Tarask, the Kraken, the Nether Dragon, and the Behemoth. The Tarask and the Behemoth are pretty similar, unfortunately. A Mimic Colony. See, I'm trying not to have more combat, is the thing. Yeah, it's rough. I don't know. Oh, cool. Hierarcho Sphinx. Cute. Yeah, I'm trying not to have more combat. I just want something for them to sort of interact with. I could always make it something smaller. I guess the question here is, do I want? I think instead of the Phoenix, I would rather foreshadow something about Typhon himself. The father of monsters. So the question is, where did he come from? And I want to say that he came from. I want to say that he was created by the same people who created the Nether Titans, which, if I recall correctly, is the Proto Titans. Thylia and Kentimane's siblings, basically. So I almost want to say that Kentimane made Typhon in the hope of creating powerful things to keep people out of Thylia. Mimics don't have to be combative, they can be hipster mimics, the guy just hanging there. Make the behemoth look like a massive goat, they'll be so traumatized they won't notice the sameness. I mean, could do that. We could just do a Baphomet. Like the goat. What the hell is this? How did this come up for Baphomet? I was thinking like the Satanism Baphomet, but whatever. Make the behemoth. I already read that. Yeah, I think I'd rather have. I think I kind of want to just put a statuette of Kentimane here, and then. Is there any way to have one of the arms? What do you mean, one of the arms? Like one of the arms of Kentimane? Which, when you go down the stairs, the volcano rumbles and an arm appears. So I'm trying to. I feel like I've already spent more time on this than the players are liable to spend exploring it. I don't know. It's kind of hard. Bunch of them, he's raising an army. I mean, Kentimane doesn't need an army is the thing. And also that would that would introduce some story beats that I'm not sure I want. Is curved is just a whirlpool? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just saw that and I was just like, yeah, I think throughout the room are hundreds of human-sized stone hands protruding from the floor. And you know, maybe they'll figure it out. If the arm appears or the two pillars in that room are arms holding up an altar to Kentimane. Ooh. The two pillars are in fact arms. Cool. All right. So yeah, that's a thing we can do. Yeah, I like that. So I don't know that there's anything else we can do here to sort of pad for time, but there's plenty I can do here to just give time back. So if we're at 3 hours, if it takes them 3 hours to get to this point, I can just say, okay, the hungry aren't here, the angry isn't here if they happen to go that way. So like they can, you know, just go fight Typhon. We fight Typhon, we end the session, with Scorpius jumping into the pit. So yeah, I think we're good here. This is about all the prep that I need to do. I think this is all the prep I can do, honestly. And then I just need to keep in mind that I need to manually manage Fog of War, which sucks. But yeah, thank you everyone for being here. You weren't suggesting that pointing out his arm shooting out of the ground is him raising an arm. Got it. Cute. Yeah. I mean, he is Kentimane the 100-handed. He's got a lot of arms. So yeah, I should have caught that. But yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for the sub, Fraginator. And I guess that's about it. If you guys are watching me on Twitch right now, you can please check out our YouTube channel. We have all of our videos ever over there. If you're watching on YouTube, please check out our Twitch. We're live like 3 days a week. We're Saturday, Sunday, Monday, pretty much every week. Pretty much every week. Saturdays I do DM prep at noon, and Odyssey of the Dragon Lords at 4 p.m. And then Andy does DM prep for Rhyme of the Frost Maiden at 8 p.m. over on his channel, Andy the Mathemagician. I'm gonna drop a schedule command. And on Sundays we do a bunch of one-shots. This Sunday we're introducing 2 new players. Moses, also known as Horrible Tomato, and Matt, also known as X That X One Guy, One X Guy X. Yeah, it's that one guy. And then for players we have. Don't make me think of this. I don't know who else is playing that. But Andy will be there. I'll be there. Steph will be there. Jesse will be there. And there's one more that I can't remember. And I feel really bad about that, but it's not the end of the world. And then on Monday we have Rhyme of the Frost Maiden at 6:30 p.m. And then next Sunday we're doing our team deathmatch one shot. It's PvP. All of our Curse of Strahd and Odyssey of the Dragon Lords players murdering one another. You don't even remember your name. That's awesome. But yeah, so we also have a Discord, Instagram, Twitter, all that. You know what those are used for. And yeah, please join us in about 3 hours when we actually play the session that I just prepped. So yeah, I will see you guys there. Let's see if there's anyone to raid. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and raid Jables. He's still playing. You just have an X before and after every word. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and raid Jables. He's still playing Horizon Zero Dawn. I think he was saying he's gonna finish it up soon. So that's pretty exciting, getting to the end of the game. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and raid Jables, and then I'll see you guys at 4 p.m. EST. Bye.